With another Podchaser creator of the day. I have Eve here with Ghostpuncher, and I will let Eve tell you a little bit more about Ghostpuncher in just a second. This is, I believe, like our fifth or so creator of the day live video. If you have a podcast and like to be featured, reach out to us. We've got some details on our blog. But Eve, tell everybody a little bit about Ghostpuncher Core, everything about your podcast.
So, Ghostpuncher CORPS is a Dungeons and Dragons live kind of storytelling podcast. It kind of tells the story of three adventurers who it's kind of set in a modern day setting. They're approached by Lucifer to help her kind of keep order between the living and the dead, people, souls, demons who have crossed over from hell to the real world Earth and are causing some kind of havoc. It's set in kind of a unified universe with a webcomic, Ghostpuncher, and it stars Petua, Electra, and Mikey, who are played by my friends Amanda, Sydney, and my wife Cassidy, respectively. I don't know if I got the order there correct.
Awesome. So this is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
And how long has this been going?
We started late August of last year, so we just hit a year. We had a short hiatus earlier this year, but yeah, we're about 20 something episodes in. We're having a great time. Struggling a little to find an audience because it's like a really niche concept. You know, you have to get people on board with a lot of ideas to get them to listen to just a D&D podcast, and then you get further from there. But yeah, we're having a whole lot of fun making the show, and yeah.
So what is maybe I've done Dungeons and Dragons like twice in my life, and it was a blast. I need to get back into it. But what is maybe one of the favorite episodes that you've done, or what's maybe one of the storylines that you could tell people about?
Oh man, there's a lot of really great episodes. Episode 6 is still one of my favorite, and it that one was one because we use I think I've mentioned this, that it is a very heavy metal like influence show, both in aesthetics and also in sound. You know, we use like a really like thrashy black metal song for our opening intro. And episode 6, there was like a 20-minute long atmospheric black metal song by this band Harrow that I just really enjoyed. And they put this album up as a Creative Commons licensed track. And so I was writing what would be the events of this episode while I was listening to it, and I was able to cut the music to the episode in this really compelling way. And so you have this kind of like hour-long D&D adventure that is interspersed with this black metal song that like lyrically and kind of thematically ties into the events that are going on in the show and kind of forecasts a few things that happen later. The storyline that was going on in the show at the time, everybody was being called to Arizona. There had been these like mysterious lights that were appearing in the desert outside of this military base where nuclear tests took place in the 1940s. This is all fictionalized. The city of Bent Fork, Arizona, outside the Branton Air Force Base, but they kind of go digging into this area, and they find this weird, like, it's a bunker underground of these like eccentric rich people who were part of a nuclear test in 1940 and seem like trapped in amber, kind of ageless, just like staying in this bunker and being rich and weird for the last I guess 70 years. And then like they kind of show themselves to be like a central part to this mystery, and the gang has to kind of like interview and kind of pick apart like what exactly is going on here, what is the source of these lights, and then they're eventually kind of shown it and becomes this whole kind of melodrama between them. it's really interesting. And yeah, the episode 6 is like the second episode of that, and it deals with them like going into this cave where they find this race and sort of society of like 6 foot tall, 3-eyed jackrabbits that are like hunting with spears and seem to be led by like a cave, like this cannibalistic caveman who might have psychic powers. And so yeah, that's, I would say episode 6 is probably my favorite, still my favorite. But as Vera said in the comments, it's 22 episodes of pure gold. So
It sounds terrifying.
yeah. I try to, I try to really like balance between, because we are a comedy podcast, we're just a few friends telling a story, but there's some like genuinely really chilling, really upsetting moments, and I try to, it's a really dramatic show, and I wanted to bring that like heavy drama, heavy emotional like intrigue and emotional the way it just kind of pulls you in of tabletop role playing, of Dungeons and Dragons, and kind of bring that into the show.
Yeah, so you're the dungeon mistress, is that right?
That is correct.
So I mean, it sounds like you put a lot of work into this. So do you have, how often do your episodes come out? How much time does it take to prepare for something like this? Especially, getting everybody together at the same time has to be a challenge. Tell us about that.
I mean, people at home will tell you, like, just getting people together for a D&D session is a Herculean task in and of itself. Without microphones, without anything else, just like getting 4 people in the same room to all play D&D is its own thing. But this is a universe that I have been tinkering with for close to like 5, 6, 7 years. I kind of lose track of where I really started with Ghostpuncher, and so the individual episodes, like I will usually spend a few days writing each episode. We'll record over the course of like an hour. It's a pretty tight, pretty small cast. We actually had a 4th cast member, or a 5th cast member, including myself, who had to drop out due to scheduling reasons. They left at the 4th episode, I think. But my kind of process, we get together, we record the episode all kind of separately. Not separate. I mean, we record it together in the thing, and then everybody records into Audacity, and then I take everything into Logic. I have a pretty expansive post-production thing. I first of all, we use pretty rough. I have an okay microphone. Not everybody has great microphones or great recording setups. Right now, my wife Cassidy is living in a punk house, recording into a gaming headset, which it isn't great for audio. But I have an experience. I have a lot of experience in like post production for film sound. So that means it's a lot of TLC on the post-production end. I spent a lot of time kind of, cutting out weird little sounds and things like that, or filtering things. So all in all, every episode probably is like 12, 15, 16 hours of like concentrated work, either planning, recording, or mixing.
Yeah, well, I found just in the podcasters that I've talked to, the time that you put into the post production and editing and filtering and all of that it definitely pays off, because a lot of people don't have. I mean, it takes a lot of time and a lot of passion. You have to really have patience to do that. So.
But it pays off in huge ways, because like I know like our earlier episodes, I wasn't quite doing that yet. And, you hear like nasty nose sounds, nasty mouth sounds, conversations happening in the next room, and it pulls you right out of the drama. It makes you want to pull out your earphones. Unpleasant, weird sounds like that can really, they can ruin a podcast.
Yeah. So do you, whenever you schedule this, is it all like remote? Are you ever all in the same room? How do you coordinate that?
Right now we record over Discord. Uh, Cassidy and I have occasionally been in the same room or the same apartment. But like actually one of our players, Amanda, has never seen any of the other people in the podcast face to face. Which is I like me, Sydney, and Cassidy have kind of met. We were all at a party once in Austin when Cassidy visited me when we first started dating. But yeah, it's all very remote. Amanda lives in I think Buffalo, New York, which I'm in Olympia, Washington. We literally could not be
Wow.
further apart. But I mean, while remaining within international borders. But yeah, so it's all remote. It's we're hoping very soon, maybe not very soon, but we're hoping to get everyone kind of in the same place for a more kind of intimate feeling. I really enjoy. I love podcasts that are recorded remotely. And all of that. But I really like. There's like an energy that doesn't come through or doesn't get into that kind of session. There's a lot of D&D podcasts like We Play Games or a couple other podcasts that are all just like, these are four friends who know each other. They're all in the same space and they're all just recording into one room, into one microphone, or even into multiple microphones. And I think that does kind of lend an additional intimacy. But right now, we don't have that.
Yeah, we're in the same boat at Podchaser. So our team is, two of them are in Australia. I've never met them face to face. We just,
Wow. Yeah.
we communicate online and video chat, and that's it. So, yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. It would be ideal if we could all meet in person. But so you mentioned a little earlier that what you're doing is, pretty niche. So like you have.
Yeah.
That they have to like Dungeons and Dragons first. They have to know what that is and like and want to listen to a podcast about that. Then you've got the heavy metal aspect of it, a little bit of, it sounds like dark humor, comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, so how did you go about from the beginning trying to find an audience for that? I mean, I imagine like it sounds niche, but I bet there's thousands and thousands of people out there who would enjoy that.
Yeah, and I that's the hope. Right now, we're like through the beginning, we've kind of been I've been trying to be smart about where we advertise. We push towards communities that I think would be open-minded. And there's been like one of the really, I feel like we're kind of coming up in a moment that is kind of conducive to a podcast like that, because there is like this huge, because of kind of the political climate in America and everything like that, there's a huge like leftist or tolerant sect of metal, of extreme music, of horror. You're starting to hear a lot more from people who aren't a part of the kind of white male boys club that metal, that D&D and all of that has been over the past several decades, that both of those have been in existence. So like right now earlier this year we had a Jumbotron ad spot for the Adventure Zone, which is another D&D. They've now moved on to other tabletop role-playing systems. Another podcast that is wildly successful and again popular with, because they have a lot of LGBT characters represented on the show, and so I saw that as an opportunity. Okay, well then here, watch some LGBT people play D&D, play tabletop role playing games, and then maybe there's a little bit more craziness to it than just that, with the metal thrown in. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how we're trying to find a community right now. We're not stocked with listeners quite yet, but it's going all right.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you're trying or doing for outreach or to get, your podcast out there in front of more people?
So, right now, one of the things, and this is kind of, I've been doing this both to get my podcast out to more people, and also just because I love playing tabletop role playing games. I've been doing some live streaming D&D games with my friend Valdranth on Twitch, twitch.tv/Valdranth, if you want to check that out. This series called Dragonstone, where I'm just playing playing a character in someone else's game. I bring my funny voices and all of that kind of stuff with me. Later in this year, November 4th, I will be teaming up with Valtranth once again. She's doing a 24-hour long Extra Life kind of tabletop role play-a-thon where 2 days in a row we're going to have basically 12-hour blocks of live streamed role play games.
Wow.
And yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. Val is going to be a player in all of them. I am only going to be involved with one of them, which is the last one on the last day. And I'm going to be it's not DMing because it's not D&D, but I will be game mastering a game of Worldwide Wrestling RPG, which is this really cool kind of tabletop RPG in the Powered by the Apocalypse system based on pro wrestling. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to do the whole thing in character as this weird, horrible GM character, the same way that a lot of wrestling promotions have. But I'm hoping to do that, kind of bring our podcast to a bigger audience, and also I'm bringing on some people from I'm bringing on 2 people from We Play Games, which is one of my favorite other tabletop role-playing podcasts, other actual play podcasts. I'm my friend Emily from Super Mario Bros. Minute, another podcast that I'm a huge fan of, is going to be another player playing a wrestler in that game. And so I'm hoping to kind of we're all expanding each other's audiences to kind of all come together. So yeah, really excited about that.
Yeah. So I love that because the last few Creator of the Day videos that we've done, it seems like people are trying to get out there more, either in person or through live streams or through being a guest on other shows. And I think that scares a lot of people for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's a great way to grow your show. So you mentioned the Jumbotron on Adventure Zone. That's pretty widely known. How did that work out for you? I'm just curious about the process and if that was effective.
It was. So I had my whole ad copy written out, and it was one of those things where I knew when they were going to be going on sale, and it was concert tickets. I was sitting there refreshing the page, waiting for it to be available. Managed to snag it. I purchased the ad sometime in November, and it ended up airing in March, which it happened to because I told you we had that hiatus earlier this year. We came back from hiatus and posted an episode the day the Adventure Zone ad spot aired.
Did you know it was coming? Was it?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. They do not give you any kind of scheduling because it's a first come first serve basis. Plus, everybody's going at the exact same time. They're sold out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shit show on what is actually when it actually is going to show up. But we had, I guess, some cosmic timing on our side. We did see a nice bump in listenership, and the most important thing, our stats went up and they went back down, and that's not really we had an initial interest bump, but we've had 2 or 3 people which that's all I need. Come in and say like, hey, I found you because of the Adventure Zone. I love your podcast now. It's like my shit now. And like that's 2 or 3 people. That's $200 well spent from my book, because those people are going to tell more people. Those people are going to tell more people when like you're a show as small as this, anything like that, any, even just a few like diehard fans can really be like your lifeblood.
Yeah, and if 2 or 3 people reached out and actually said something to you, I bet there's
oh yeah,
many more that just don't reach out and say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's great. Well, do you have I don't know if you mentioned, how often do you release a new episode? Is it every couple weeks, once a month, or
It's bi-weekly, every other Thursday.
every other Thursday? Okay, so when is the next one coming out? Is it today, Tuesday, Wednesday? Is it this week or next week?
It would be it's next week.
Okay, next week. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share about your show? I also want to give people a place to find you. I know you have your website and your social channels and all that, so feel free to share that with people.
So ghostpuncher.net, that's where you can find pretty much everything about Ghostpuncher. Ghostpuncher.net.
You said the webcomic is there on Ghostpuncher.net? Okay.
Yeah, the webcomic is at ghostpuncher.net, and then ghostpuncher.net/core or /podcast. I have like 7 different URLs that all direct to the same thing. But yeah, that's where you can also go to catch the podcast. We also pretty much any social media platform you can find us on, like Facebook, we're Ghostpuncher666, Twitter, we're Ghostpuncher666, Tumblr, we're ghostpuncherblog.tumblr.com. You can also find us on Discord, which I don't have like a snappy link for that, but you can find that link on our Twitter, on like a number of other things. We are also right now, Vera, thank you for the reminder, but I was just about to get to it. We're running a contest for a... I redesigned our logo a few months back and put in one of my favorite things in logo design, which is an inexplicable acronym. And so right now it says Ghostpuncher CORPS with like periods, and I didn't think of anything. I just thought it looked cooler. And so right now we're running a contest where you can come to our Discord, and there is a "What does CORPS stand for?" Discord channel. And so you just have to come up with like, what does CORPS stand for? Make it somewhat related to the show, maybe, or just make it like a funny thing. And so right now people are voting on what their favorite is. And then I'm kind of keeping track of all of them. And on October 30th, the one with the most votes and my personal favorite will both be receiving a free Ghostpuncher Core t-shirt.
Hey, awesome. So you said that's through the end of October 30th?
Yeah, that's
on Discord?
Through the end of October. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I know that, so the one last thing I want to mention, I know that you took advantage of this, and I don't know if those t-shirts will be from TeePublic, but we're doing, so through, what is today, the 25th, so through the 30th, there's only, looks like 5 more days of this. We are doing free t-shirts and stickers with podcast artwork for any podcast creator out there that wants to go in to podchaser.com/creators. If you go there, you can sign up for early access to our creator profile pages. So next month, Eve will have a dedicated profile page on our website, along with every other podcast host, producer, guest, editor, voice talent, people who create the artwork for the podcast. They're all going to have the dedicated page on our website where you can find and follow them, so you can see what else your favorite creators have guest starred in and that sort of thing. But if you sign up for early access at podchaser.com/creators, we're doing totally free, including shipping, t-shirt and a sticker for your show through the end of this month. So that is that. And be sure to check out Ghostpuncher. Let Eve know what CORE stands for on Discord through the end of October. Be sure to check out our show on Podchaser and leave it a rating and review. I'm sure Eve would appreciate that. Anything else?
No, that's it. I just want to say the free t-shirt deal with Podchaser couldn't be easier to do, couldn't be faster. I did it in like a morning, and then I had a t-shirt and a sticker in my mailbox like the next week. It was awesome.
Awesome. Great. That's good to hear because I haven't even gone through that process. So that's great. Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Have a good day.